were supposed to have Rochelle Scott from the Pauli Murray Center here. I got a frantic phone call from her yesterday. As we know, COVID is still running around our state, and even when you're vaccinated, you can end up being exposed and have to be careful. So she is getting tested. She's vaccinated and hoping she's okay, but this happens. So she has asked if I would read the comments from the Pauli Murray Center, which I'm happy to do. As you all know, the Pauli Murray Center is in Durham, North Carolina, and Pauli Murray is truly having a moment. There's going to be a documentary coming out in a few weeks about her life. She was absolutely an incredible woman. So one of the things that Pauli Murray said is that true community is based upon equality, mutuality, and reciprocity. It affirms the richness of individual diversity as well as the common human ties that bind us together. She offered these words in 1979, 4 decades later, and we still look toward Pauli Murray for both courageous and compassionate leadership in all areas as we continue to strive toward that community which reflects equality, mutuality, and reciprocity. The Pauli Murray Center for History and Social Justice in Durham is honored to be part of this day. We are sure our namesake, the late Reverend Dr. Pauli Murray, is beaming with admiration for each of you who've not abandoned the cause, the basic human right of equal rights for women. Born Anna Pauline Murray, a multiracial individual, grew up in segregated Durham. She received her undergraduate degree from Hunter College in New York, and even though her family's descended from some of the founders of the University of North Carolina, at Chapel Hill, when she applied there for graduate school, her admission was denied because of her race. She would instead enroll at Howard University School of Law, though even there a professor is said to have quipped, "I don't know why a woman would want to go to law school." She was the only woman in that graduating class, and Murray finished number 1. Now, she attempted to pursue further legal training at Harvard, but again, when she applied to Harvard Law School in 1944, the admissions committee told Murray, your picture and the salutation on your college transcript indicate that you are not of the sex entitled to be admitted to Harvard Law School. In each effort to obtain the same opportunities afforded to whites or men, Murray encountered a challenge, but nevertheless, she persisted. She wrote, "I had entered law school preoccupied with the racial struggle and single-mindedly bent upon becoming a civil rights attorney, but I graduated an unabashed feminist as well." Murray's name has been unfamiliar to many of us for far too long, but now the name is known, and more importantly, the work she did to advance the cause of women's equality is also becoming known. The accomplishments of Murray are innumerable. She is now finally credited with creating the foundational research and documents which would help overturn school segregation in Brown v. Board of Education. She was arrested and jailed for challenging bus segregation during the interstate travel 15 years before Rosa Parks. Murray coined the term Jane Crow to describe the way in which women, including black women, are discriminated against. It is, in fact, Pauli Murray to whom we can now applaud for the compelling legal strategies which would influence the ERA. While the men who were at the helm of the ACLU were reluctant to either support the ERA or include gender, Murray and Dorothy Kenyon successfully argued and convinced their male legal counterparts to support the ERA and include issues of sex and gender equality. It's a long, complex legal story that got us here, but it's because of brilliance, tenacity, and the courage of Pauli Murray that allowed the victorious challenges to laws which discriminated on the basis of sex. Many may recognize the great RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, may her memory be for a blessing, for the groundbreaking cases she argued on sex discrimination. But Ruth Bader Ginsburg credited Pauli Murray's earlier work for her later legal victories. There have been so many women both known and unknown, who have persevered in this long road towards gender equality and equity. The Pauli Murray Center for History and Social Justice hopes that each of you will today remember patriots like Pauli who fought for women, racial and ethnic minorities, the working class, and others to just be seen as human and equal. We each have a shared responsibility to keep this movement going forward. Thank you.